is it the right move for Australian rugby to be getting rid of Joe Schmidt? Now, earlier on this year, it was announced that Les Kiss, who is the current head coach of the Queensland Reds, is going to be taking over mid-2026. And is that the right move to be making? Honestly, the performances that Joe Schmidt is getting out of the Wallabies is fantastic. And you can see the development, you can see the hard work. And Schmidt has had a really, really difficult job. He took over from Eddie Jones, who, let's just leave it at that. I believe there was Dave Rennie as well, who he coached for, I think it was like 3 years, from 2020 to around 2023, around 30 test matches, and he only won 38%, which I do believe is actually the lowest percentage of any Australian head coach that has had more than 30 tests. So you can see for the past couple of years, the Wallabies have really, really been struggling in terms of performances and coming away with wins. And we started to see glimpses of it, right? We look at the autumn nations, and then we started to see into this year. But most recently, we look at the performances that's been put in by Australia in the Rugby Championship and the British and Irish Lions Tour. Suali'i is playing with freedom. He's playing with peace. You know, it looks like he's truly, truly enjoying his rugby. Yes, he's not very good defensively, but the way he works forward, what he's capable of bringing to the side, how he allows the side to open up is phenomenal. The talent of Max Jorgensen that's been found, he's just like this gem that, you know, is just being polished, and he's just getting better and better and better. We saw it up against the Lions. We saw it up against the Springboks. We've seen it up against the Argentinians now. He's just getting better. Corey Toole, who is an absolute speed demon. Another player that he is just getting better. Peach as well. These are killer players. That partnership that Len Ikitau and Suali'i has formed as that 12 and 13 partnership, beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong, Australia is definitely still building, but it's these building blocks that are very, very promising. And I would genuinely love to hear from any Australians that come across this video. What are your thoughts on this? Is it the right move to see Schmidt getting the best out of Australia? Really getting them playing free-flowing rugby. Look at the Argentina game. Yes, they did lose. But look at that second half. Look at the speed that they were running that ball out to the wings. I mean, the 2 tries for Daugunu. It was brilliant. Now, albeit forward pass, but the speed that they are running that ball, the ferocity that they are coming at it. You know, we look at how they played up against the Springboks. They caught the Springboks off guard. Nobody expected that. But my word, they played their absolute socks off, and we were made a fool of by quite a few of these Australian players, right? Yes, in terms of the 9 and the 10, there's still something to be desired. There are still players that need developing and players that need to be brought into the fold. If you are able to find a gem like Max Jorgensen in a 9 position, oh my word, to be able to blend the forwards and the backs, ridiculous. Absolutely, absolutely ridiculous. Australia have such deadly backs. I mean, we saw the performance that Kellaway put in. You know, he is ridiculously good, and they just have all of these other players that are just, they're getting better and better and better. And to have a star like Suali'i leading there makes that just a little bit easier for those other players to shine just a little bit brighter, right? We look at that back row pairing: Rob Valetini, Fraser McWright, Wilson. Beautiful. This is a back row pairing or back row trio that is going to be around for the next couple of years. Easy. And they can dominate. They really, really can dominate, you know. Now, yes, there is still something to be desired in terms of the forwards and the locks, you know, bringing in a little bit more talent, getting a little bit more depth there. There's no team that is perfect, but the steps that Australia are taking, it's very, very promising. But is it the right time? Are we starting to see all of this development come through? We're starting to see all of these players making progress, and then to shift the change, to shift from Schmidt to Kiss. This might affect Australian rugby and potentially spiral them backwards, right? Because not only are they now getting used to a system, a way of playing, they are now going to have to relearn a new system. There's going to be a new head coach, so there's going to be new preferences in terms of player style. There's going to be a whole new shift that is going to mess up with not only the morale, how the players are gelling with each other, the partnerships that are being built. There's a lot that is going to be coming on here. Right? There's a lot that's going to be changing here with Les Kiss coming in and then giving him only 1 year to prepare his team for the World Cup. We are only starting to see Schmidt really, really starting to get the best out of his players after this amount of time. So instead of developing and pushing on forward, giving Schmidt another year, another 2 years to really start to perform, to really start to, get ready for the World Cup, we are going to be seeing a team that is going to be built around Schmidt's ideas, the way he works, his style. And then in 2026, there's going to be, we're going to change things and we now have to redevelop. It's definitely going to help Schmidt in terms of developing each individual, personally, and their skill sets are definitely going to get better. They're going to become better players as a result of this. But once that shift, once it shifts over to a new head coach, there's going to be new structure. There's going to be a whole brand new learning curve that I think is ultimately going to affect the Wallabies. I don't think we are going to see the best form of the Wallabies if Les Kiss when Les Kiss gets the job, which is why I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. Is this the right move for Australia? When we are really seeing Schmidt getting the best out of Australia. They put in a brilliant shift up against Argentina. Argentina are no joke. Argentina came through with a win, a dominant win, I would say, up against the All Blacks. Yes, Argentina beat the Wallabies, but the Wallabies were missing players. The Wallabies did not have a full-strength squad here. And I do think if Australia had to have a full-strength squad, we would have been talking a completely different game. They are getting slowly closer to that England and France, right? And then obviously we are going to see how things play out later on in the year. But the performances are phenomenal. Not only did the Wallabies come through with a win up against the Lions, they came through with a win up against the Springboks. They came through with a win up against the Argentinians. Now we're going to see what happens next. But this is very promising. And I fell out of love with Australian rugby for a little while, and ever since we got the Rugby Championship, we got the Lions Tour. The Lions Tour really, really got me into it, and it really got me fired up about Australian rugby again. And you can see by the performances. I mean, I hate to harp on about it, but Max Jorgensen, Corey Toole, Dylan Peach, Suali'i, Len Ikitau. I mean, even Tom Liner, he's got legendary blood in him. This guy, he can improve so much. James O'Connor put in good performance. Yes, he is experienced. Yes, he's on his way out. But he still put in phenomenal performances. Andrew Kellaway, Tate McDermott, Harry Wilson, Fraser McWright, Rob Valentini. These are all elite level talents that, are just developing and getting better. It's players like this that are just making me want to watch Australian rugby so much more. And it gets me excited. This morning, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to be prepared for to be prepared for Australia versus Argentina, and I was buzzing about it. Yes, I was on like 900 coffees, so that might have been a result of that too. But I was genuinely happy to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, only having like 4 hours of sleep, to watch Australia play. And Argentina. I love watching Argentina play anyway, but I digress. I was genuinely happy about it. And it now has me worried with the performances that are coming out, with the building blocks that are being built, with the foundations that are being built by Schmidt, for everything to be turned on its head when Les Kiss comes in 1 year before the World Cup. And now you're thinking, what do we do? In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, keep Schmidt until the World Cup. Now, I don't know if there's anything in the background that I don't know about, that maybe Schmidt had other offers, or maybe Schmidt, didn't want to sign, in which case they've signed Les Kiss to take over. I might have missed that. If that is the case, please let me know. But keep Schmidt by any means necessary. Give him until the World Cup. Speak with him and say, look, lead us into the World Cup. The progress that's being made, lead us into the World Cup. Once the World Cup finishes, whatever position we finish, okay, wash our hands, brilliant job, thank you, and move on with your career. All right? I see that way. You get development. You get structure, you get foundation, you get system in place, so that once the World Cup is over, perfect. Now we have another 4 years to work on Les Kiss's new system, style, players that he prefers, and to really start building more, right? But this way, you now have 4 years of Les Kiss to really develop the new talent, to develop the talent that's already there, to help them improve, to change leadership, hierarchy, how things are done, who's played, what kind of what kind of systems you want to play. But at least this way, it gives Les Kiss 4 years. Because what's going to happen if Les Kiss is unable to get them to play the way he wants to? He's not going to be able to get them to play the way Schmidt plays. And then he's going to be judged, because if the Wallabies are not playing efficiently, if they're not playing well, by the time the World Cup runs around, and now, all of a sudden he's got a horrible work rate, they've got the stress of the World Cup, they've been kicked out of the World Cup, and now all of that blame falls on him alone, having not been given the time and not given the time and the resources to fully get the team playing like he wants them to, right? I find that to be unfair on someone like Les Kiss, because he's only going to have 1 year to develop those players and to put them into the style that he wants them to play. Schmidt is only now just getting the best out of his players. Yes, he wasn't given the best hands with Eddie Jones. He was given a raw slate where he's really had to develop people. He's really had to find those gems in the rough, and we are seeing progress now. But I feel this is unfair on Les Kiss, because if he comes around, he's not going to have enough time to get them fully match ready, prepared, and with a full system and foundation in place for the World Cup. So like I say, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this, especially the Australians. I would genuinely love to say, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm an idiot and I'm missing something. But I find that this would be taking a step back in signing Les Kiss. If there is any way to keep Schmidt, I think they should keep it. Maybe he had other offers or something, whatever it is, there's something behind that, they've decided to part ways. Fair enough, a decision needed to be made. You work with what you have. But if you could keep Schmidt in place, keep him until the end of the World Cup. By any means necessary, keep him until the end of the World Cup. Because I think having everything in place, considering where the World Cup is being played, where it's being played, we could see a very dangerous Australia, a very, very dangerous Australia. So let me know what you guys have to say in relation to that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I'm just overreacting to it. But I just feel it would be a step back for Australia signing Les Kiss 1 year before the World Cup, and then having Australia have to shift their tactical mind completely. So as always, like, subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. If you guys do want to support the channel, drop a super thanks, and you guys will get a personalized response from me. And yeah, as always, I love you all, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.